On the first day of my drawing and painting courses at the California College of the Arts where I teach, I am going over all the tools and the materials for the students, whether it's a drawing course or a painting course. It's the usual suspects, the brushes, the paints, the charcoal tools, etc. And then right near the end, because we are working a lot from observation, I say, and here is the most important tool of all, which you must have, and it's this, the viewfinder. It's so simple and yet so important. And I say to them, this is the world's least expensive camera, the world's cheapest camera for looking at the world. So as I said, we're working a lot from observation, but what this wonderful device does is when you look through this little window, and many of you know what I'm talking about, you isolate everything else, and it's just like a camera. You're focusing only on the area that you want to focus on, especially in terms of design and composition. What matters and what is extraneous. It's been used for centuries, and I want to talk with you a little bit about not just the importance of this, but having one for you to use as a means to see. I'll also explain that when I conduct when I have conducted my color and design workshops here in our studio, at some point, once I have helped the artist see certain kinds of color, everything from saturated hues to the muted hues to the chromatic grays, then we'll take this viewfinder out on my balcony here and start looking at the environment, the world around us. And I'll ask them to crop it in such a way that they're only looking at a handful of shapes and really stare at it and then begin to identify those colors for what they are. And we'll go in the morning and look at the light and the color. Then we'll go in the afternoon, it changes. The evening, it changes. And it's a really great way to kind of sear your memory of what it is you're actually seeing. But you have to stay with it. You can't just take a glance and put it away. It's important that when you use the viewfinder for whatever purposes you're using it, that you take some time with it, that you be patient and really identify what is important and then just stay there. It is like a camera. You click that memory in that moment into your head. So let's discuss the best way to have these and to make these. It's really simple. Notice that this aperture is not that big. And the reason for that is if it's too big, then you're going to see too much information. The beauty of this is that I close one eye and I can bring it in close to me and I can see quite a bit of information. But if I take it away even that much, it does a beautiful job of just cropping that situation that I'm looking at, that composition or design. That's why it's nice to have a fair amount of space around this. Now, if I want to alter this format and make it a square, I just get to take a piece of tape like this, and I can put it right here. And all of a sudden now I have a square format. I would use white tape. Now there's another way to do this, and I'll show you how not to do it. Here's how not to do it. Notice that this is a piece of mat board, so it's nice and stiff. You can carry it around. I like this size. But a piece of paper is too flimsy. This is not good. That's number one. And number two, this aperture is just too big. You see, even if I hold it at a distance, I'm still seeing quite a bit of information. And if I bring it in close to me, it's just a ton of information. So the aperture, or this hole, if you will, needs to be smaller. And then finally, this is a really nice way to do it as well. Basically what I did was I took some mat board and I cut it into 2 L's, just like this. The great thing about this is its flexibility. You can have if I wanted to go outside, for instance, and do a landscape, and maybe I want a format that's a long rectangle, for instance. And you can buy these in the store, by the way, but why spend $10 on something that you can make yourself? So now I've got a really great aperture if I want to go out into the landscape and have this kind of format, you see. I chose the topic of the viewfinder today because it has a direct correlation and link to photography. Also a really powerful tool for exercising a certain muscle in our eyes as artists. And in fact, Maria and I just did a video, our coffee and tea series on YouTube, having to do with photography. So if you're interested, please check that out. It's the latest in our playlist. There'll be a link there for you. I also use, or I should say, I also incorporate the use of photography quite a bit in the language of design. And in there, you will find a whole chapter on photography as part of a way of seeing for artists. So either way, please check it out. And we're always welcoming your thoughts as well. Thanks so much.